John Hughes didn't just write movies, he wrote moments that defined growing up in the 1980s. He had this uncanny ability to take the ordinary parts of teenage life and turn them into something magical, something that felt both personal and universal. Whether it was skipping school, falling in love, fighting with your parents, or just figuring out who you are, Hughes made movies that felt like they were made for you. His journey into filmmaking started in advertising, but his real breakthrough came when he began writing screenplays. One of his first big successes was National Lampoon's Vacation, but what really made John Hughes a household name was a string of movies he made in the 1980s that centered around teenagers. These weren't the typical teen comedies filled with slapstick and cliches. Hughes made films with heart, with characters that felt real, even if their situations were a little exaggerated. 16 Candles came out in 1984 and immediately set the tone for what a John Hughes movie was all about. A high school girl named Samantha, played by Molly Ringwald, is turning 16, but her entire family forgets her birthday. It's funny, awkward, and teens found it relatable. From the embarrassing school dance to the quiet heartbreak of unreturned crushes, it hit home for so many teens. Molly Ringwald quickly became Hughes' muse, going on to star in more of his classics. The very next year, Hughes released The Breakfast Club, which might be the most beloved of his films. 5 high school students from totally different social groups are forced to spend a Saturday in detention together. At first, they judge each other based on stereotypes, but as the day unfolds, they open up about their lives, their fears, and their struggles. It was a rare movie that took teenagers seriously. It didn't talk down to them or try to make their problems seem small. What made The Breakfast Club so powerful wasn't just the story, but how deeply people connected to it. Everyone could see a little of themselves in at least one of the 5 characters, and by the end, you realize that they really weren't so different. Ferris Bueller's Day Off came next and brought a completely different kind of teen story to the scene. Ferris wasn't dealing with heartbreak or trying to fit in. He was already cool, already confident, and he just wanted to take a day off from school to enjoy life. The movie is full of joy, clever tricks, and fourth wall breaks where Ferris talks directly to the audience. It was a celebration of freedom, friendship, and making memories. And at the heart of it, it was a reminder to not let life pass you by. John Hughes also had a talent for giving the spotlight to characters who weren't usually the leads. In Pretty in Pink, he told the story of a girl from the wrong side of the tracks, trying to find her place in a world that didn't always accept her. In Some Kind of Wonderful, he flipped the usual love triangle and gave depth to characters often overlooked. He wasn't afraid to show awkwardness, insecurity, or the feeling of not belonging. But Hughes didn't stop at teen films. He also had a gift for family comedies. In the late 80s and early 90s, he wrote and produced hits like Uncle Buck, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and of course, Home Alone. These movies were filled with the same heart and humor that made his teen films great. They were funny but warm, silly but grounded in real emotion. One of Hughes' trademarks was how his characters always felt human. They made mistakes, they had weird habits, they messed things up and learned from it. He never tried to make anyone perfect, and that's exactly why people connected to them. His stories weren't about saving the world. They were about navigating everyday life and realizing that those small, personal moments matter the most. He also had an incredible ear for music. The soundtracks in his films weren't just background noise. They became part of the identity of the movie. Songs like Don't You Forget About Me from Breakfast Club or If You Leave from Pretty in Pink became unforgettable because they captured the exact mood of the story. He understood how music could carry emotion and memory, and he used it perfectly. Even today, decades later, Hughes' movies still speak to new generations. Teens now may have phones instead of landlines and stream movies instead of renting VHS tapes, but the feelings are the same. That mix of joy, confusion, frustration, and discovery hasn't changed. And Hughes' work captures all of it with heart, humor, and a lot of honesty. John Hughes helped shape the 1980s, not just in film, but in culture. He gave a voice to teens who felt misunderstood and reminded everyone that growing up is messy, emotional, and sometimes wonderful. His movies weren't about superheroes or explosions. They were about real people, just trying to figure things out. And that's why they've stood the test of time. John Hughes didn't just make movies, he made memories. And for generations of moviegoers, he made growing up feel seen. Like, comment, and subscribe for daily history.